And as always goes, this is the shell that will be firing, the high explosive fragmentation shell. That pans only up to 37mm of armor, but the good news is that with 3.67 kilograms of explosive mass, yeah, pretty much nothing at battle rating 2.3 can actually withstand these things firepower, even if you have more than 37mm of armor. Not the spot I was aiming for, but I'll take it. I can just kill a Valentine like that. Do something new every day, I guess. Look at that face, man, honestly. That is the face that you know that this EU is done with humanity. Humanity and the ocean trash and the fishing lines. Oh my goodness, look at those eyes.
Recycle your trash, or I'll recycle your corpses.
Hey guys, it's Jim here, and welcome back to War Thunder. And in today's video, we are checking out the vehicle that has been sitting on my radar for some time, but some of the War Thunder changes in the past couple of years has kinda made this thing a little bit of an awkward situation in terms of its battle rating and firepower. I mean, like, this thing went from 2.3 to 2.7 to 3.0, and then it became useless at 3.0, so it got bumped down to 2.3. That's how messy it was. But now, with volumetric and overpressure, this thing is a nasty piece of work at 2.3 battle rating. And at the moment, I really have no idea why is this thing not at 2.7 already. But anyway, why is this thing such a nasty piece of work? Well, let me show you. Firstly, the armor. As you can see, this is the version of the SU tank destroyer that is based on the T-34 chassis, so that means you have 45mm upper front plate, but unfortunately you're sloped at 52 degrees. And why do I say it's unfortunate? Because here's the thing, in order to house some of these really big guns onto these tank destroyers, SU tank destroyers, they kinda make the upper front plate a little bit less sloped. Let me show you. This is the standard T-34, and yeah. You have 45mm upper front plate sloped at 16 degrees. So yeah, if you're not careful, and especially when you're up tiered, don't be surprised if there are many guns that can actually penetrate you just by shooting your upper front plate. Otherwise, if you're playing within your tier or you get down tiered, there's not a lot of guns that can actually punch through you from the front. And sure, there may be some that could, but what you could do is simply angle. They're not gonna penetrate this because it's now have a very weird angle, as well as your size is, yeah, that's just no. However, there are some weak spots that you need to keep in mind. Firstly, your driver viewport. And you might be thinking, the driver viewport is not exactly a good spot to hit, because you know, it's usually thicker as well as it's a little bit sloped. But here's the thing though, there is this little spot, as you can probably see right now, on the driver viewport that has zero angle whatsoever. So a lot of guns can actually punch through this. All you have to do is look for this little visor right here. Although this can be remedied by putting a jerry can on top of it. The players who do not know about it, yeah, that's a ref for you. And unfortunately, that is your gunner and your loader right there. One of your 5 essential crewmen that you need to keep the tank operational. Another weak spot to be careful of is this, which I suppose is, I think it's the gunner periscope or something. But yeah. And the reason is because it's just as thick as the upper front plate and it's a little bit less sloped. Even more less sloped. So that's something you need to be careful of, because guns that has explosive filler, armor piercing explosive, or whatever, they can actually shoot this, and that's easily 2 out of your 3 crewmen right there. So be very careful about this part. Don't be surprised if they manage to penetrate you. And one last weak spot to be careful of is this. And if you haven't guessed it already, that is your gun bridge sticking outside of your tank. Because like this thing, like most Soviet tanks, they have this nasty tendency to actually have the gun bridge sticking outside of the tank, unfortunately, and they don't properly armor it either. As you can see, sure, 52mm of armor, which is thicker than the upper front plate, but the issue is that it doesn't have any angles at all, so that means a lot of guns can actually punch right through this, and that is your gun bridge right there. So that's something you need to be extremely careful of. Otherwise, what you can do is just angle, and they will have a little bit of a difficulty trying to penetrate, or knock out your coverage entirely. So how about the mobility on this thing? For a vehicle that's bringing a big cannon to a battle, you actually have a really good mobility in this thing. A really powerful engine, 500 horsepower, and it's only lugging 30 tons, or 30.1 tons. So that means you can go up to 55 kilometers an hour very easily going forward, especially since you have a very wide set of tracks, so going off-road is really not an issue for you. Just be careful about one thing though, your reverse gear is a little bit lacking. I mean, it's not too bad, it's one of the best ones, but there are moments where you wish it's a little bit faster. And finally, the firepower of this thing. This is the 122mm M30 howitzer. Yeah, that's right. Like the KV2, this thing is basically bringing a howitzer, a high caliber howitzer, to 2.3 battle rating at 55 kilometers an hour. And as howitzer goes, this is the shell that will be firing the high explosive fragmentation shell. That pens only up to 37mm of armor, but the good news is that with 3.67 kilograms of explosive mass, yeah, pretty much nothing at battle rating 2.3 can actually withstand this thing's firepower, even if you have more than 37mm of armor. Just keep in mind that there may be some tanks that you can't penetrate from the front, like the Valentine Mark 1 or the Sherman 105. What you could do is shoot the turret instead, then let the explosive mass take care of the rest by shrapneling downwards. However, if you come across a vehicle that has a really strong upper front plate but no turret for you to shoot at, like the 3H gun carrier for example, you can opt for the heat shell instead. That pens up to 160mm of armor at any range. Just keep in mind about two things though. One is that you don't exactly have a very good effective range as compared to the high explosive, so that's something you need to keep in mind. And secondly, like how heat shells really behave, they behave like solid armor piercing rounds when it comes to dealing with covered tanks. And finally, you can opt for the smoke shell, but personally I just don't bother using them because of this thing's reload. I kinda wish this thing has smoke grenades instead, but I guess this vehicle doesn't deserve that privilege. And now moving on to the other aspects of this thing. You can carry up to 40 rounds of ammunition. I just say bring as many as you want because they're all gonna be around the crewman, so as soon as the enemy gets onto your side, you're basically screwed, so what else is new? As well as you probably die before you run out of shells due to the reload on this thing. And speaking of which, reloading rate, the stock reload is actually 23.5 seconds, around there. So it's actually kinda long. I did manage to bump this down using expert crew and high level weapon reloading. Just keep in mind that at battle rating 2.3 there are a lot of vehicles that are really fast and they can reload in like 3 seconds. So yeah, keep this in mind, don't push so aggressively because of your reloading rate, or maybe just stick close to your teammates. Vertical guidance, -3 gun depression. It's really not that great, but then again it's a Soviet vehicle, so the real question is what else is new? And finally, no gun stabilizer, but for some reason when it comes to Soviet vehicles, their guns don't really bounce that much. So even though it doesn't really have a gun stabilizer, it's not like it's a really big deal anyway. And so there you have it. The SU-132 that's basically bringing a T-34 chassis to 2.3. But before I got into the battle, I originally made this video for the SU-122, but I ended up getting a few good clips with the AR-2 as well, both together as one. So I thought, why not just make this into a little combo video. This is the AR-2 bomber, and just to sum it up, this is actually a pretty nasty bomber. It's fast, you can turn extremely well with this thing, and you can drop 3 500kg shells. And for those people who used this thing before you comment that the 2 bombs on the outside drop at the same time, the recent update for some reason decided to make them drop individually. So that means, yeah, that is 3 bombing runs right there, dropping 500kg shells on the enemy. But anyway, that's all about the vehicles that I'm going to be playing. Now let's get into battle, and let's just annihilate everybody with high explosive, shall we? Overkill. I shouldn't be overextending like this. I need to pull back. There's a shot. There's a shot to see. And I don't know which kind. Okay, I need to do something about this T-28E. Yo buddy, remember me? Oh, there's a Valentine. That is a tank I do not want to see at this BR. Snapshot. Ah, damn it. My entire team died. That's what happened. I still got one more bomb and a dream. Let's do this. That's okay though. Yeah, I can bring a machine gun and see what happens. Oh, stop moving! Gun-depending artillery. So how did I survive all that without losing a single combat? This thing is nasty. Oh. Yeah. Not gonna say it. Damn it. Come on. I know you want to reverse. Good boy. Die, die. There's another guy next to him, isn't there? This is awkward. Yeah, sorry, bud. I just want the guy in the gun. Sorry, babushka. Whatever. What happened to my teammate that was shooting this guy? Oh yeah, I see him. Sorry for revenge kill. Oi, buddy!
Attention to the designated grid zone.
damn it.
Enemy forces have captured a zone. Forces have captured a zone. Enemy forces have captured a zone. Let's keep the pressure on. Victory is close. Let's keep the pressure on. Victory is close. Forces have captured a zone.
No caps for you, buddy. But kudos on the guy who actually spotted me from that far away. Oh wow. I knock out my top gunner and not my bottom one. That's interesting.
Attention to the designated grid square.
God damn it. I hate this track. Catch! Yay! I hit the tree, didn't I? God damn it. It's a lot closer than I thought, I guess. Yeah, keep moving, see what happens. Yay.
Thank you very much.
Is he the only guy? Oh, thank God. I don't have a machine gun to mark. Hello. I thought I heard something. I missed. It's okay though. I'll just put in my YAR2 anyway. Oh lord, oh lord, oh lord, why are you going towards them? Why? Clear out! Go away! Why are you hugging them? Fucking liabilities, man, I swear to God.
Attack the aim point.
Gajin, why is that a thing? Why? Just why? Just a guy in a pay-to-win vehicle. Ooh. Oh no, I shouldn't have dropped my speed. No, that's okay though. Come on, we can clutch this. Thank you, extra turrets. Please don't tell me we're gonna win this. Oh my goodness.